Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky again with my plans and pans. I'm sitting at my desk in my office in DC. I know some of you wanted more interesting venues. I promise we'll find some more, but it's been a really, really busy week. So first of all, I wanted to talk to you about the impeachment. So Donald Trump, as Nancy Pelosi likes to say, is impeached forever. And Richard Nixon resigned, Bill Clinton apologized, and Donald Trump had a rally at the White House. Oh, he was waving around newspapers and he was trashing in pretty profound ways everybody who he thought was an enemy, thinking he was cute, so he is feeling somewhat empowered. But I think the American people, almost 80% of whom wanted a real trial in the Senate, they wanted witnesses, they wanted documents, not just opening statements and then closing statements, know that this is not a real exoneration. So we're moving forward now, and I think a lot of people see what you see, what I see, and we're just going to, and we'll try to work with the president on prescription drugs, on infrastructure, but we have not found him to be an honest partner. And so regardless, we're going to keep trying on the people's business because we have the people's agenda. I wanted to talk to you about the State of the Union. I was wearing white. Women were wearing white there because it's 100 years since the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote. But also it was about women power. Many of us were wearing ERA buttons, Equal Rights Amendment, because now the requisite number of states have ratified it. The job now is to get the date moved so that we can, the Justice Department, not surprisingly, has said time has run out. It doesn't matter anymore. You have to start all the way over. Not really true that we have to do that, but we're going to have to fight in order to have the ratification now of the Equal Rights Amendment, put women in the Constitution. So at the State of the Union, we heard so many lies. I just wanted to give you a couple. The President of the United States said that he was really the only president, the only candidate for president when he was running that would protect Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. And again, he promised that at the State of the Union. The fact of the matter is that every budget that we've seen from him so far have cut by hundreds of billions of dollars. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and especially Medicaid, which he's trying to change the rules on right now. I was on the floor of the House today condemning that because they want to take money away, allow states to take money away from Medicaid, which helps over 3 million people on Medicaid in Illinois just alone. But he also was talking about the best economy ever. That is just not true. That he was handed a terrible economy from Barack Obama, who he loathes. That was just not true. And he talked about and bragged about the lowest unemployment rate ever. That isn't true. But beyond that, let me just say, we do have a low unemployment rate, but many of us know people who have 2 and 3 jobs. And even though the lowest income people have been helped, it has been to the credit of states and cities, localities that have raised the minimum wage, which Donald Trump refuses to do. We're at $7.25 an hour and a $2.13 an hour for tip wage workers. So he has done nothing to help lift people out of poverty. And then it was a reality show. But I have to tell you, I'll be honest with you, when the president said, I want to honor a true American hero, someone who has been diagnosed with a bad disease, honestly thought for a moment he was going to say John Lewis, the hero of the civil rights movement. I thought that. And had he said that, everyone in the place would have stood up, Republicans and Democrats. He is beloved and admired. He says the two words, guaranteed to divide the House. That great American hero, Rush Limbaugh. I mean, people were just astonished. And then he says, and right now, the First Lady will put the Presidential Medal of Freedom around his neck. Not only that, he said he was going to provide a scholarship to a young African-American girl so she didn't have to go to a government school. As a teacher, that's how I started. In the public schools, I'm proud of our public schools in the United States of America. He insulted every teacher in the public school system in this country, and I mightily resented that. And then, of course, he announced that someone in the service was returning. That's great. And here he is now. Your husband has returned to your family. I mean, really, it was like he was running I don't know, not really even a reality show. An unreality show is what we were seeing. It was hard to be there. It's back to calling immigrants murderers and rapists, that only American citizens should be able to get health care, not aliens. The wall came up again. It was difficult, but I was proud to be there with so many women wearing white and many Democrats, most Democrats, sticking to their seats and not cheering. It was the most partisan State of the Union address, I think, in the history of our country. I wanted to talk to you about the U.S. Postal Service. You know, you don't spend 1 cent supporting our post offices around the country. We have 7 million postal workers, and guess what? They have been required to prepay the pension going forward 75 years, meaning they have been asked to pay pensions of postal workers that haven't been born yet. It's really crazy, and it's driving the workers. It's very hard for them to do that, and it's undermining the Postal Service, which again I think is deliberate. The president wants to privatize the Postal Service. I also wanted to tell you we had a hearing on vaping. 5 CEOs of companies that produce and sell vaping, which is now an epidemic among young people in this country, and getting young people hooked on nicotine. Understand that while vaping may not involve tobacco, it does involve it does make one addicted to nicotine. And I think what it means is young people will be later on in life will be smokers. That vaping is supposed to help smokers get off of it. Maybe there are some people that do that, but they're clearly marketing with flavors. Most of them still are doing that to young people. So we're on the case. We're trying to now go back to healthcare, to infrastructure, to creating jobs, dealing with corruption, dealing with gun violence, and we still have a president who has actually been, though not convicted, he has been impeached. I am about to go to the floor of the House of Representatives and vote on what may be one of the most important bills to address the problem of income inequality in our country. And it's called the PRO Act, which means protecting the right to organize, to protect the right of Americans, which is central to who we are as a country, to bargain collectively for higher wages, for better working conditions, and for good benefits. You know, it's really the union movement, I believe, that brought us the middle class in the first place. And it's been about 3 decades where the corporate sector has tried to attack unions by passing legislation, making it harder and harder for people to actually get together and form a union. And this legislation would address all of these ways that the companies have avoided and delayed and gone after unions, fired people for trying to organize unions, and to correct those ills. Unions are very important. I still pay dues to the union, even though I'm working here in Congress. I want to support my union, Workers United. SEIU is my union from when I wasn't in public service here in Congress and the legislature. And so I am very proud and very excited that we're going to pass this. Is the Senate going to do it? Unlikely. Very unlikely, even though I know there are many senators who are pro-union. Probably Mitch McConnell won't let it come up. But we want the American people that we stand for real with working families to be able to have a living wage so that they don't have to keep struggling, fighting to get out of poverty into the middle class. I'm excited about that vote. And that's really it for this week. I'll be back next week with my plans and pans. Thanks for being with me. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.